Light within all light. Soul behind all souls at the break of dawn, at the coming of day. We wait and watch. Your light within the morning light, your soul within the human soul, your presence beckoning to us from the heart of life. In the dawning of this day, let us know fresh shinings in our soul. In the growing colors of new beginning all around us, let us know the first lights of our heart. Great star of the morning, inner flame of the universe, let us be a color in this new dawning. Let's take a moment to greet one another, especially anyone you don't know.
Good morning and welcome to UU Danbury on this bright blue sky day. So nice to see the sun. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury. First, please silence your phones if you haven't done so already. I'm Nancy Hirschadter. I'm a member of the Sunday Services Committee and a founder of Music at the Ridge. UU Danbury has been gathering together for over 200 years. And as we work to build a more just world, we respectfully acknowledge that our physical building is on the traditional lands of the Paugussett people. We're so glad you're able to join us this morning. You are an essential part of our celebration today. Whether today is your first or 1000th Sunday in our midst, in person or online, we are stronger because you are with us. If you're new to our community and joining us online, we invite you to introduce yourself and where you're connecting from in the chat box, if you're comfortable. At the conclusion of today's service, you'll have the chance to participate in a breakout group for individual connections and deeper check-ins. If you're new and here in person, please fill out a visitor card at the table near the exit before you leave today. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Just as you are welcome here. Announcements for today. Today we welcome Reverend Fred Small as our service presenter. Reverend Small is a Unitarian Universalist pastor, a singer-songwriter, a former environmental lawyer, and he serves as Minister for Climate Justice at Arlington Street Church in Boston. Welcome, Reverend Fred Small. During this morning's worship, we'll be singing Everything Possible, Fred Small's classic lullaby of unconditional love and inclusion. A beautiful picture book edition of Fred's song will be available for sale after the service. It's a wonderful gift for the children and former children in your life. Fred will be glad to inscribe your copy. If you're joining us remotely this morning, you can find Everything Possible at your local bookstore or online at noisycrow.us. I made a mistake. It does say N-O-S-Y. Nosycrow.us, correct? Nosy, N-O-S-Y-C-R-O-W.us. Nosycrow.us is where you can find that book if you're joining us online. And those are our announcements for this morning. So now it is time to light our chalice. If we had any children in the room, I would have them do it, but it looks like it's me. So please join me in the words of our chalice lighting. Words will be on the screen. Love is the spirit of the This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek and speak the truth in love, to help one another and celebrate life.
Bright morning star arising, bright morning star arising, bright morning star arising, days a breaking in my soul. Bright morning star arising. This began as a beautiful, kind of sleepy Appalachian hymn. Bright morning stars arising. That's in our hymnal. Court Dorsey, musician activist, took this song to the Seabrook nuclear power demonstrations back in the day and kicked it up a notch and turned it into kind of a movement anthem. And then I added some more verses because I'm a folk singer and that's what we do. Please rise in body or in spirit and sing this with me. Bright morning star, just one bright morning star. Arise, give it a try. Bright morning star arising, bright morning star arising, bright morning star arising, days a breaking in my soul. There's some wonderful harmonies to be found in this song, and I love what Pete Seeger used to say about harmony. He said, don't be afraid of harmony. Harmony is any note that your neighbor isn't singing. So give it a try. Bright morning star. Bright morning star arising, bright morning star arising, bright morning star arising, days a breaking in my soul for justice and compassion. For justice and compassion, for justice and compassion, for justice and compassion. Days of breaking in my soul, for peace in every nation, for peace in every nation, for peace in every nation, for peace in every nation. Days of breaking in my soul, for the healing of creation, for the healing of creation, for the healing of creation, for the healing of creation. Days of breaking in my soul, for the future of our children, for the future of our children, for the future of our children, for the future of our children. Days of breaking in my soul. Last time, bright morning star. Bright morning star arising, bright morning star arising, bright morning star arising. Days of breaking in my soul. Beautiful singing. Have a seat.
Okay, so get your UUs high in the air. We'll do our children's affirmation. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are people with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. We care for the earth and each other.
We have cleared off the table, the leftovers saved, washed the dishes and put them away. I have told you a story and tucked you in tight at the end of your knockabout day. As the moon sets its sails to carry you to sleep over the midnight sea, I will sing you a song no one sang to me. May it keep you good company. You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads. and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself, you can gather friends around, you can choose one special one, and the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one special one. And the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. That's a lot more words than Bright Morning Star Rising, but I will feed them to you as much as I can, line by line. That's the chorus, and I invite you to sing it with me. You can be anybody you want to be, and I don't know if that's Barbara forwarding the images or not, but we should probably go back to you can be anybody you want to be. So as Nancy was saying, this song became a children's book, and those are the pages of the children's book, which Alison Brown, the illustrator, did such a beautiful job on. You can be anybody you want to be. I'm afraid we're sort of suffering sensory overload right now, but I think you can sing the song and enjoy the images at the same time. You can be anybody, give it a try. You can be anybody you want to be. You want to be, you can love. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country. You can travel any country where your heart, and know I will love, and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can live, but you can gather friend, you can choose one special one, and the only measure of your words, and the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. Some children grow up strong and bold, while some are quiet and kind. Some race on ahead, some take it slow, some go in their own way and time. Some women love women, some men love men, some leave every label behind. You can dream all the day, never reaching the end of everything possible you'll find. Don't be rattled by names, by taunts, by games, but seek out spirits true. If you give your friends the best part of yourself, they will give the same back to you. You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one special one, and the only measure of your words, and the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. The love you leave behind when you're done. Thanks for singing with me. So sometimes we sing the children out with This Little Light of Mine, but since I don't think there are any children amongst us, we'll just sing it for our own delight. And we'll sing a few more verses. I guess we usually just sing once through, but a lot of wonderful verses to this song. And, some of us are old enough to remember singing these songs during the Civil Rights Movement. And, the kind of sense of community that built. And we can do that right here, right now. Please rise in body or in spirit. Was that, Keith, was that thumbs up a good thing or okay, good. Just wanted to check. Yeah, I think that's going to lose its utility in about 20 seconds because we'll be singing the words as well. So let's start with This Little Light of Mine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Try some harmony. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I may go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, building up a brand new world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Last time, this little light. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Beautiful.
And on that note, it's time for our shared milestones. Let's begin with silent milestones. If you have a concern or a joy that you would like to express by placing a stone in the bowl, please come and do so.
is by Joy Harjo, member of the Muskogee Creek Nation and United States Poet Laureate. Once I traveled far above the earth. This beloved planet we call home was covered with an elastic web of light. I watched in awe as it shimmered, stretched, dimmed, and shined, shaped by the collective effort of all life within it. Dissonance attracted more dissonance. Harmony attracted harmony. I saw revolutions, droughts, famines, and the births of new nations. The most humble kindnesses made the brightest lights. Nothing was wasted.
Before we do our offering, 2 chats came in belatedly from Jane and Randy in Maine. I just have to read this because it's apropos of that reading. Last night, the waxing crescent moon set into the sea and revealed a carpet of stars above. Now the sun is back, twinkling on the waves of a very blue ocean, high cirrus clouds above, and we are gathered with friends at UUCD from afar. Life is so good. Love you, Jane. And from Doug and Marilyn Parkhurst, also from afar. The Reverend Fred Hammond's mother passed away this week in Florida. Fred was a longtime member of UUCD. So those are the 2 messages that came in belatedly. And now it is time for our offering. It's now time for our congregational offering. And if you are with us for the first time, your presence here in this room is your gift to us. So please let the basket go by. Members, please express your generosity as our greeters will circulate the donation basket. If you are online, you may click a link posted in the chat to make a donation or a pledge. You may also mail a check to UUCD at 24 Clappered Ridge Road in Danbury, 06811. As we create this holy place together, thank you for doing your part to support and sustain this community that we so love.
I knew a man once who tried to save a tree. It was a magnificent red oak planted in the 19th century. Through numberless winters and springs and summers and autumns, its roots had penetrated deep into the soil, and its trunk had grown tall and strong. Generations of families and friends and lovers had gathered gratefully in the shade of its broad canopy. And the man loved the tree and held it sacred. But the tree grew close to a building, and one day the owners of the building decreed that the building would be improved and expanded. The tree would have to be cut down, they said. And so the man who loved the tree wrote letters and social media posts to try and change their minds. He organized others and enrolled political leaders in his cause. Save the tree, they cried. The owners were unmoved. It's true, they said, the tree is old and beautiful, but it's actually not in very good health. It's going to die soon anyway. Besides, they said, we have no choice. We've examined every alternative, and none is practical within our budget. The tree must go. Outraged, the man assailed their motives, their integrity. His letters and posts grew more acerbic and sarcastic. At last, his belligerence and ill temper drove away even people who also cared about the tree and might have helped save it. And so the tree was cut down. And all who saw its severed limbs couldn't help noticing how healthy they looked. And the man cursed the owners for their stupidity and short-sightedness. This good man who loved trees so profoundly and so passionately had not learned from them. His feverish, frenetic activism was nothing at all like a tree. He championed the sacredness of trees while neglecting the sacredness of human beings, including his own. He knew the worth of trees, but not the peace of trees. Don't we all make the same mistake, at least some of the time? I do. More than half a century ago, the Trappist monk and peace activist Thomas Merton warned, "There is a pervasive form of contemporary violence to which the idealist most easily succumbs: activism and overwork. The rush and pressure of modern life are a form, perhaps the most common form, of its innate violence, to allow oneself to be carried away by a multitude of conflicting concerns, to surrender to too many demands, to commit oneself to too many projects, to want to help everyone in everything, is to succumb to violence. The frenzy of our activism," Merton said, "neutralizes our work for peace. It destroys our inner capacity for peace. It destroys the fruitfulness of our own work because it kills the root of inner wisdom, which makes work fruitful." The frenzy of our activism destroys our inner capacity for peace and the fruitfulness of our work. Actually, Thomas Merton was lucky. He died before Twitter. Twitter, now technically X, of course. Twitter, that twilight zone of snark, contempt, occasional inspiration, and permanent outrage, where I, for one, have wasted far too much of my time. It's easy to be punitive and make others disposable, caution Tom DeWolf and Jody Geddes in The Little Book of Racial Healing. The difficult task, they write, is in telling the truth in ways that seek healing and transformation. We are beset today by a host of daunting challenges, all of them urgent and interconnected, many seemingly intractable, from patriarchy to white supremacy, from public corruption to secret abuse, from anti-Semitism to Islamophobia to transphobia, from gun violence to armed insurrection to all-out war, from mass incarceration to mass extinction. It is natural for us to feel grief, anger, fear, and despair. I am a climate justice activist, not exclusively, but primarily. Despair is my constant companion. By now, it's almost an old friend. It seems every new report coming from the scientists is even more alarming than the last. As Lily Tomlin once observed, things are going to get worse before they get worse. The realization that it's too late to prevent significant global warming, too late even to prevent vast suffering, has had a surprising effect on me. Instead of making me more anxious and agitated, somehow it has calmed and steadied me. For decades, as a climate activist, I felt like I was in a rowboat above a thundering waterfall, rowing frantically to keep from going over the falls. Well, the boat is going over the falls. We are plummeting, tumbling, crashing into the unknown at vertiginous speed, and yet somehow at the same time in slow motion. Terrible things are happening. Terrible things will happen. Millions, I believe, will suffer and die with the worst impacts upon those least responsible for the problem, people of color and people living in poverty all around the world. But it is never too late to save the next life, or the next community, or the next species. Never too late to feed the hungry or welcome the stranger. It's never too late to do the next right thing. I vow to do all I can to reduce the suffering, to tend to the wounded, and to build a more just world. But because I believe it is too late to head off catastrophe, I am resolved to do these things mindfully, with love and compassion and tenderness and generosity of spirit. Because given the certainty of suffering, the how of what we do is as important as the what, or even the when. As we plunge headlong into the maelstrom, even more important than the question, what am I going to do, is the question, who am I going to be? Our climate future is not binary. Everything's going to be wonderful. No, everything's going to be terrible. Ecotopia, dystopia. The future will almost certainly have elements of both. And where the balance between them falls will depend upon an infinite number of choices. My choices and your choices and the choices of our children and their children and their children. We don't know what's gonna happen. I hope that the human species survives the crisis we have created. But whether or not we do, we know that life on Earth has already survived 5 major extinctions. Life will endure. And intelligent life will continue to evolve with luck and the grace of God, not only smarter, but also wiser and kinder and more compassionate. As we confront this crisis, Potawatomi botanist Robin Wall Kimmerer reminds us, we don't have to figure out everything by ourselves. There are intelligences all around us, other than our own teachers, everywhere. If we understood that, imagine how less lonely the world would be. So as we struggle to save our trees, what can we learn from them? First of all, hydrate. We can also learn that you cannot fight the force of gravity. We can learn patience. When we are in mortal danger, patience can be hard to cultivate. Trees can help us. Trees take the long view. They have to. Many live hundreds, even thousands of years. Longevity counsels patience. By patience, explains Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron, we don't mean enduring, grin and bear it. In any situation, instead of reacting suddenly, we could chew it, smell it, look at it, and open ourselves to seeing what's there. The journey of patience, Chodron says, involves relaxing, opening to what's happening, experiencing a sense of wonder. To be patient means to slow down. On an exposed cliffside in the Canadian Great Lakes is a white cedar that's taken 155 years to reach the towering height of 4 inches. That's taking it slow. Even when a tree is under threat, it responds slowly. When a caterpillar begins to chew on an oak leaf, it can take an hour before defensive compounds reach the leaf to repel the pest. The hectic pace of humans takes a toll on our activism, our relationships, and our souls. We can be peaceful in our fervor, insists Charles Eisenstein, and patient in our urgency. You know, if your religion doesn't acknowledge and honor paradox, I think it's time to find a new religion. In a society hyped up on hyper-individualism, trees remind us of the interdependence of all beings. The seventh principle of Unitarian Universalism. Far from the solitaries trees may appear, they are deeply embedded and active in a community of interconnection, which forest ecologists sometimes playfully call the wood wide web. Whether by interlacing root systems, fungal networks, or release of chemical scents, trees warn each other of predators and harmful insects. They can even share nutrients with each other. According to ecologist and Shimshian native Dr. Teresa Ryan, when a tree in a warming forest dies, it donates its carbon not to its own offspring, or even to others of the same species, but to the newest arrivals in the forest, those most likely to survive as temperatures increase. A bequest of generosity, akin to altruism. Trees model for us the power of commitment, of choosing to be rooted in one place. When a seed takes root, it makes a lifelong commitment to that very spot. There, it must adapt or die. Now, our commitments need not be absolute, but they call us to strive and to struggle, to honor our relationships, our communities, and our principles. Commitment demands persistence. Trees persist through high winds, torrential rains, heavy snowstorms that bend their branches, and ice storms that break them. If you've ever seen a tree clinging to seemingly naked rock, the root tips stretching to every particle of soil, sucking in the tiniest droplet of moisture, you know what persistence looks like. Trees teach us to live with loss. Every fall, deciduous trees surrender their leaves to the forest floor, enriching the soil not only for themselves, but for all who share their ecosystem. And trees endure the deaths of their companions, from wind, fire, storm, disease, logging, and old age. Trees embody the perfection of imperfection. Admiring an old maple here in Connecticut, I was struck by its sinuous beauty. Looking more deeply, I realized its beauty lay precisely in its irregularity, its imperfection. Had it been perfectly straight, perfectly uniform, perfectly symmetrical, it would have been grotesque. Only human beings make things that way. God knows better. Maybe I too could accept my imperfections as a mark of beauty. We teach what we most need to learn. Now, when I spend time with trees, I sense somehow their humility, their kindness, their love. I used to think it was anthropomorphic to ascribe human attributes to non-human beings, but I no longer think so. Actually, I think it's anthropocentric to think so. 'Cause we're all sentient beings. We know that plants feel pain and distress. Why shouldn't trees, in their own way, feel love? If you doubt that, I invite you to spend more time with trees, touching their bark, gazing up at their leaves, and just listening. Trees have been among my wisest and most reliable teachers. As a child, Howard Thurman, who would grow up to become one of the great preachers of the 20th century and a spiritual advisor to Martin Luther King Jr., as a child, he discovered a unique relationship, he remembered, with an oak tree in his backyard in Daytona Beach. I could sit my back against the trunk, he recalled, and reach down to the quiet places of my spirit. Take out my bruises and my joys, unfold them, and talk about them. I could talk aloud to the oak tree and know that I was understood. It too was part of my reality, like the woods, the night, the pounding surf, my earliest companions, giving me space. Today, we need love more than ever. Climate and racial justice advocate Mary Anais Hegler confesses that love is what keeps her going. I don't mean any simple, sappy kind of love, she declares. I mean living, breathing, heart-beating love, wild love. This love is not a noun. She is an action, a verb. She can shoot stars into the sky. She can spark a movement. She can sustain a revolution. I love this beautiful, mysterious, complicated planet we get to call home. I love that nighttime symphony of steamy southern nights when the frogs croak and the crickets sing and the owls hunt. I love the delicate feel of honeysuckle petals and the warm greeny earth and dewy grass on my bare feet. This love is strong enough to break through the terror. She is hot enough to burn through anger and turn into fury. She can shake you out of your despair and propel you to the front of the battlefield. It's a love that can also, even in the teeth of these most insurmountable odds, give me hope. If I'm brave enough to accept it. As for prophecies, they will come to an end. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will come to an end. But love never ends. I'll let the trees have the last word. With the assistance of their friend and interpreter, the late poet Mary Oliver. Technically, Unitarian Universalists, we don't have saints, but if we did, I think Mary Oliver would probably be one of them. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me. And daily, I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow, often. Around me the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches, and they call again. It's simple, they say. And you too have come into the world to do this. To go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine. Amen. And blessed be.
Ain't you got a right? Ain't you got a right? Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? The song was written by Guy Carawan, inspired by the spirituality of the Carolina Sea Islands. Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Please rise in body or in spirit and give this song a try with me. Ain't you got a right? Ain't you got a right? Ain't you got a right? Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Ain't you got a right? 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 Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? So rocky the road, so rocky the road, so dangerous the journey, so dangerous the journey. But we got a right. Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Ain't you got a right? 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 Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? We come from a distance. We come from a distance. We come from a distance. We got a right. And we got a right. Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Ain't you got a right? 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 Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Our lives will be sweeter. Our lives will be sweeter. Our lives will be sweeter, 'cause we got a right. Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Ain't you got a right? 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 Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Now, before the pandemic, I would invite us to sing this song one last time through, sing the chorus, and join hands with the person next to you. Now,
then during COVID, of course, we didn't do that. Are we post-COVID? I have no idea. But look, some of you are going to feel comfortable joining hands with the person next to you. Some are already doing it. And some of you will not. And you have absolute control, authority, autonomy over whether you join hands with the person next to you or not. So even if somebody, some hand-holding zealot, reaches their hand out to you and says, come on, what's wrong with you? And you don't feel comfortable, don't do it, all right? All right? Okay, we understand each other? So, the best word, any parish minister will tell you, the best word in congregational life is invitation. I am inviting you to hold hands, but the nice thing about invitation is you can say, no thank you. Okay, we're good. Ain't you got it right at 3 o'clock? Ain't you got it right? 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 To the tree of life. Ain't you got it right? 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 Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Amen.
It is now time to join me in the words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again.
The words of Stephanie Kaza. Let go of the place that holds. Let go of the place that flinches. Let go of the place that controls. Let go of the place that fears. Listen, the wind is breathing in the trees. Moving through the dark night, I practice courage, accepting the vastness of what I cannot see. Amen. And blessed be.